Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the TrapHouse Podcast. I really do appreciate everybody out there who's listening today or tomorrow or 5 years from now. But I just got a few things to talk about today. Gonna make it short and sweet. But first thing on the list, I gotta give credit where credit is due. One of the reasons for the name of this podcast is this man right here. So I just like to give a little credit to Jelly Roll. Welcome to the Trap House, and on that note, welcome to the Trap House Podcast. I must say, starting a podcast is one of the most difficult things I've had to do in a very long time. But seriously, with nothing going on and everybody afraid to go outside, I mean, what else is there to do? So, jumping on this new podcast, let's see. Number one, welcome, and thank you for tuning in. I hate hearing it. I know I'm going to hate saying it, but if you like what you're hearing, or if you want more, like, subscribe, tell your friends. I've got no social media whatsoever. And there's no real way to contact me other than through my email address, which you can find in the links below, or I'll, at the end of the video or podcast, I'll put a little screenshot up of how you can contact me or call in or be a guest or whatnot. But let's do this. It is officially April 24th, 2021 at 6:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Something to think about real quick. Anybody know what specific time is? Excuse me there, I can't keep my breath for some reason, but just let me know when you find that out. Or if you've got a friend who says it's specific time, throw a comment down below and let's let them hang out to dry. Anyway, next on the list here is I just want to say thank you to those listening, to those watching but can't hear, don't really know what's going on. Thank you. If you're forced to listen to this for some sort of torture, thank the guy who's torturing you, because this is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour every week of positivity and enlightenment, as well as some jokes and pranks and who knows. Honestly, I'm not in this for anything other than getting my voice heard, whether it's by 1, 2, or millions. Either way, shout out to a few people who have, given me some inspiration along the way. I have to give a shout out to the makers of the King and the Sting. Oh, geez Louise. The King and the Sting podcast, Brendan Schaub and Theo Vaughn. I don't know what's going on with my voice today. First time jitters, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys, because, this past weekend, King and the Sting, Stevie Weeby doing that Good Guys or Good Friends podcast. It's really fun. Anyway, kind of said to me, just get out there and do it. Now, this has been in the process for, I don't know, months and months. At least 6 months I've been talking about it. People keep saying, when's the podcast coming out? What is this, another failed dream you have? Like getting that pickup truck you've always wanted? Yeah, I couldn't let this one fall to the wayside, so here it is. Again, welcome to the Trap House Podcast. I know what a lot of people think when they hear the word Trap House, but let me re-engineer your brain and get you unconditioned. The origins of this podcast come from my children, actually, which I have 4 of, and I'm very proud of each and every one of them. We'll get into them later, but the name of the podcast came about because my son likes to play that Fortnite game, whatever, and then when they opened up that War of the Worlds or whatever that is, where it's that unending battle star, I don't know. I don't get into that stuff, but here's the gist. My one son is very good at scamming people. So he devised a scamming routine, which was really neat. He showed me. and he was able to trap the other opponents, other players in a house and then just steal all their stuff. I don't know. Being able to build, I don't know how it all works, but it was pretty neat to see, you know? And I didn't have to pay for all the tokens or V-Bucks or whatever for them to buy all the stuff. They were just looting off of randoms on the internet. Anyway, so my son goes, yeah, Dad, this is called the Trap House. Watch this. And then that's where the origins began. We started calling the house the Trap House, and they were digging it, and it stuck. So I built a room for my children, like a podcast room, game room, whatever. It's pretty neat. I'll have pictures posted later on, but it's just a simple 10 by 10, 10 by 11 room, whatever. But it's just somewhere for the kids to come, hang out, let things loose, let things go. I'm hoping in the future that they'll be able to run some of these episodes and maybe get in on the, the editing and the marketing and producing, all that. But, neither here nor there, but that's the origins of the TrapHouse Podcast, brought to you day one, April 24th, 2021 at 6 a.m. I've been up since 4:30 trying to figure out these wires and spilling stuff. Spilt water all over my desk, all over the laptop this morning, 4 o'clock. Wonderful. That's not how you want to start your day, I'll tell you what. But let me say one thing real quick. Just real quick. Welcome again to the Trap House. Thanks again, Jelly Roll, for bringing it in hot and heavy. Here we go. Here's something to think about real quick, just real quick. Throw it in the back of your mind. Bees. Seriously, man, what's the deal with bees? Do we love them? Do we hate them? We'll get back to that later. Anyway, here we go. I know none of you know who I am. Not only have I not given you a name, I haven't given you any background. So this podcast, this first episode, will basically be an intro to the Trap House. Things are going to get crazy here, folks. But here's the deal. This is how I'm going to introduce myself. It's not a joke. I'll let you know if I'm joking or being sarcastic or whatnot, because there's always a time to be serious. This is one of those times. My name is, and I'm very glad to be hosting this podcast to maybe touch somebody's life, maybe help somebody out, maybe, send a family to on a nice little family vacation. Who knows where this podcast is going to go? All I know is I'm looking to promote kindness, goodness, joy, and just an overall sense of greatness. We should look at ourselves every day in the mirror and say, you're going to do something great today. Whether it's changing a garbage as a custodian, or if you're a CEO like Warren Buffett, you look yourself in the mirror every day and say, I want to do something great today. No matter how small, no matter how big. If it's something great and you know it's great and you put your effort into it, just do that every day. Here we go. Listen, I'm not going to give you my name off the bat, but I'll give you a hint. In the Christian arena, my name means Christ bearer. Hit me up in the comments if you know what my name is. Next, I have a few things about myself. Number one, I do work a full-time job in the process of remodeling / building my first home. Not my forever home, just my first home. In my spare time, I like to, work. And given the past year or so, some people couldn't even work. So, I couldn't even imagine if my job wasn't essential anyway. Shout out to all the essential hospital workers, EMTs, first responders, second responders, anybody who responds to any emergency. Thank you for being out there on the front lines for us. Kudos. Anyway, it's nice to finally get this going. It may not be the best quality to start off, but it takes money to hire a team and get people together to help with this kind of stuff. But we're just taking a shot in the dark, if that's still a phrase. All right, so that's just some small things about me. We'll get into some deeper detail later on. But here's one major thing that you need to know about me. It'll say a lot about my humor and my outlook, kind of, on life. And I'll be blunt with you right now, my outlook is very optimistic. I mean, honestly, the glass really not half full, it's not half empty. It's like, are you going to drink that or what? You know? Anyway, here we go. Let's keep this wagon train a moving. Anyway, Toy Story references. What am I doing? Here we go. I am old enough to know better, still too young to care, but still wondering if the grass is a little bit greener over in Miss Thatcher's yard. I don't know. Here it is. Listen, if you are listening to this podcast right now and you're like, what the hell is this guy about? What's he doing? My goal here is to do one thing. Just get my thoughts and my ideas and some positive reinforcement, some positive energy out into the world to hopefully one day benefit the world or others around me. I'm not a big fan of treating myself or, doing things selfishly, although that's built in our nature. We all know that. It's a real struggle to not be selfish. And I struggled with that for a very long time in my life. And it wasn't until the past, year and a half or so that I started looking inward. Started saying, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Maybe you should have thought about this a little more before you opened your stupid mouth. But we're all where we're at because of choices and decisions we made and we followed through with, obviously, because if we didn't follow through, we wouldn't be in the spot we're in, right? So you got to take the good with the bad, the ugly with the good looking, the on with the off, the black with the white, the up with the down, left with the right, the electric car with the gas car. Geez Louise, I wonder how that's going to pan out. Anyway, we're getting on a tangent here, but that's the thing. I just want my voice to be heard. And, if there's stuff that I need to change or if I'm swearing too much, I'm not sure if I've even sworn yet. I mean, I do cuss like a sailor, but, who doesn't nowadays? They say the more you swear, the more truthful you are. I think the problem with knowing that phrase is those who lie will swear a lot. All right, excuse my sniffles. It is very early and cold. All right, so here's the thing. Here's one thing you're going to know about this cast, okay? Number one, I will not discuss politics. In parentheses, I will, however, rag on everybody. This podcast is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those who get offended easily. If you don't like cuss words, I know I don't, like I said, I don't think I've said any yet, but if I do start swearing, it's kind of like, how do you stop the kid? You can't. So if you don't like what you're listening to, listen. Either chop your ears off, right? And just walk around a bloody mess, not being able to hear anything, or listen to something else. There's a million podcasts and like 275 million podcast listeners. So pick a different podcast. There's a million. Grab a sip of water here real quick. Alrighty, so moving on. All right, here's one thing I want to talk about real quick. Real quick. I know this is a new podcast and you don't know me from Adam, but I'll tell you right now, I get all of my facts from the internet. Number one, what's up with the Dogecoin? Or Doggy Coin? Or Dog-E Coin? Or as they say, it's pronounced Doge Coin. Anyway, it's a dog on a coin. that everybody went crazy for. And let me bring it up real quick. Let me see where it's sitting right now. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the comeback and the bouncing effect that it made, because, I went to bed last night. It was at 23 cents, and at the current moment, it's at 27 cents, right? Here's why I have a problem with the Dogecoin. Not only was it hyped up by a multi-billionaire, but it was hyped up by his friends. High five to them for making, maybe, I can't even quote it, but maybe making billions of dollars off of us. The guy who was like, oh man, I'm going to buy 2,000 shares of Dogecoin. And then I'm going to wait till it skyrockets because Musk said it's going to the moon. So you hold on to that Doge. It's going to the moon. It's going to the moon. It hits 48 cents. And then it crashes over the next couple of days. And you're sitting there with your Doge at 24, 25 cents. And it just crashed down to 22. And you're like, I just spent the rent money on this because some guy told me it was going to $1. Anyway, listen, if you're going to make any investment in life, any investment, buying a car, choosing a partner, ordering a pizza from a restaurant you've never eaten at, or just simply walking outside, do your homework before doing anything.
I can't believe what I just heard. Did he just make a fact? Question mark?
Don't jump ship just because you see the captain jumping ship, or because Miss Kelly Longstocking was upset with the cruise, so she jumped the ship to swim back to shore. Don't follow those who jump ship, okay? If you're like Mom used to say, if your friend jumps off a bridge, you jump in too. My response always was, if the water is deep enough. But anyway, I talked back a lot as a kid. Also why I got my ass beat. You know? I know not to touch the stove. I know not to touch an open pack of cigarettes sitting on the counter if your name's not on it, you know? Anyway, it was a different era, a different time. But anyway, listen, if you're going to invest in any type of cryptocurrency, or, shit, you can invest in the dollar right now, because guess what? It costs less than $1. Tell me how that works. If the sign says it's 99 cents, and you get to the cash register and the lady's like, this is $20, you're like, but the sign says. Can't always go by the signs, okay? We got to take this one step at a time. And I just want to see people enjoying their life. Don't get caught up with the FOMO. I didn't know what that meant for the longest time, and I was just like, what is FOMO? What does FOMO mean? I thought it was like a foot fungus, or an itch you get on the back of your neck. I don't know. Then I found out it's an acronym for fear of missing out. So when you got all your buddies walking around and they're chanting and look, I just made $10,000 in 2 days. Don't fear missing out on that, because you've already missed out on it. What you want to look forward to is new investments. Something somebody hasn't caught on to yet. I'll just give one little hint. Based on how things are going, I would say lithium is a pretty good investment. Yeah, the batteries explode. So what? Who doesn't own a flashlight? Who doesn't have, geez Louise, a remote control? Who doesn't have a mixer that takes batteries? Or, who's got kids that have 75 different types of toys that every time you buy something at Christmas, it says batteries not included? You're telling me Barbie's dog can't walk because you left out that one AAA battery? Come on, Mattel, Hasbro, get with it. Give us them batteries. Stop being petty. Anyway, that's the deal, man. That's it, and that's that. Just be wise. As my mom used to say, she says, make wise choices. If you look at my life, you would know I haven't made such wise choices. Moving on, here's another tidbit about me. Doge is Doge. Do your investments. Be wise. Be smart. do your homework, On a lighter note, I'm part of this strange group of people who roam the earth with things to do, places to be, people to meet up with, work that needs to be done. So this strange group that I'm a part of, which is, I think it's growing in number, I'm not really sure, but by the looks of it, with people's privacy being infringed upon every single day, people being canceled and silenced, and what seems to be like run out of town or run out of the city, it doesn't seem right, So it's very important to be part of this group that I'm a part of. It's crazy because I fell into it by accident one day, and some of the coolest people I ever met. Now you're probably asking yourself, how do I become part of this group that you're talking about? Well, here's the deal, and I'm going to tell you. If you value true human connection, true human emotion and feeling, and if you value moments, I'm going to give you the secret right now. I'm going to give you the secret. Get a pen and hope you're sitting down. But here is the secret to just being able to live a life that's a little less stressful, a little less worrisome. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but worrying for me is like a rocking chair. You can sit there all day. It gives you something to do, but you're not going anywhere. So stop worrying, right? No stress, less worry. Your thumbs don't hurt. You're not worried about what he and she and Aunt Rhonda's doing. You're not worried about what Letitia's up to. You're not looking at what John just had for lunch or what Pete just built over at the depot. I'm calling for it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. If you're listening to this podcast, whether it be the day it gets put out, a week later, 2 years later, 10 years later, here's the thing. If you are not a famous celebrity or a CEO of a massive company, or, really if you're not a first responder, something like that. I mean, if you need to have it, you need to have it. But here's the deal. I'm giving you the number one advice of the year. Cut all social media ties. Now, it's funny me saying that as I'm promoting a podcast, I mean, how do I go about walking around that? Well, here's the deal. When I say social media, I mean anything that requires you to keep tabs on people you don't know, people you have nothing in common with, friends that were referred to you because you accepted a friend request from some guy in Bangladesh by accident. You're getting snaps from some guy trying to scam you into buying a lawnmower in the middle of winter. Listen, these are headaches we don't need. We don't need them in our life. Work is stressful enough. If you got kids, you're already through the roof. Forget having a job and that stress. You're more worried about the kids 99% of the time, But that's just what I got to say. Just cut that social media right out of your life. This is what I say. Just listen to some podcasts, some music every now and then. But here is the key. Use your mind, your imagination, and don't ever stop being a kid. One of the worst examples or metaphors or teachings I've ever heard in my life came out of the Bible, and I'm going to tell it to you. Here it is. When I was a child, I spake as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you. If you want to grow in life, you need to be malleable. You need to be flexible. You need to be like that mold, that clay that a potter uses to make bowls and cups and whatnot, sculptures, what have you. You got to be like that, because the second you start to turn hard towards anything, you shut that information off. So here's my advice. Cut out that social media. Get rid of it. Start reading a book every day. I mean, shoot, the amount of time you spend on social media, you can read a book every week. 2 books, 3 books. Some people spend 6 to 8 hours a day on Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter. How do they do it? I don't even know. But they do it because you gotta get them streaks, bro. Did you get them streaks, bro? How many streaks you got? Did you get them streaks? Not worth it. Shit, we're only here for 70 to 85 years. And every day that passes, our longevity of life decreases. I mean, geez Louise, I'm hoping to be like Walt Disney one day. Freeze me, baby, and let me know when they cure diabetes. Because I want Wilford Brimley back on them commercials talking about, I ain't got no more diabetes, but I do have frostbite from head to toe. All right, here we go, guys. Listen, I'm going to have a new episode every Saturday. It will be posted at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some days, or some Saturdays it may be earlier, some Saturdays it may be later, but I'm going to give you my word that I'm going to do my best to make sure it's out every Saturday by at least 7 p.m. If I release one earlier or if I release an extra one, I'll give you the heads up, right? But listen, I just want to thank all of you. We got about 30 minutes in on this podcast, and I mean, I've got a list of stuff to talk about here, and I even barely scratched the surface. But again, I guess I'll fill in the last few minutes with just some info about me. You know, I'm in my 30s. If you can't tell, I am balding horrifically. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not doing any videos yet, but once I start videoing these pods and getting them up, I'm ready for the criticism. And I am ready for this new experience, you know? I mean, I've dealt with a lot of crazy things the past couple of years, but what I would like to do is start off, is to just go all the way back to the beginning of this podcast and remind everybody that this is the first podcast I've ever done. So I'm not going to call it episode 1. It's going to be episode 0. So if you're listening to this, this is episode 0. You've made it on the ground floor, and there's only one way to go, and that's up from here because, you know, everything's paid for. The only thing I'm wasting right now is time, and I mean, geez Louise, most of us have a lot of time to do extracurricular activities, you know, go fishing, bowling, throw the ball with your son, take your dog for a walk in the ocean. Who knows? A lot of us got time for that because we've realized, and it's very important to know this, that you need a slowdown in your life. This rushing here and there and everywhere was only meant for a couple of times a year when you had to rush around to get them last minute gifts. But for some reason, the human race has this idea that we've got to be here and there and done now. And I'm finding that life a little hard to live, you know? Rushing from here to there. Does anybody know the phrase, man, look at that Sunday driver? I will pose a question to the audience here. How many of you have seen a Sunday driver? It's been a while for me, I know that for a fact. Even after church, around my area, these old people got some lead feet, bro, and thick Coke bottle glasses. Like they ain't seeing past the steering wheel, yet they gotta make it to church to give that 10%. To a God that created them to love him. And if not, you go to hell. I mean, somebody tell me how that works. I mean, that sounds pretty ass backwards because from what I heard, he already knew and knows the future. So if you know the future, let me ask you this, audience. Why would you create a bug that crawls into the ear canal of a human, mainly children? I believe it's in Africa. It burrows into the ear canal, lays some eggs and whatnot on its way to the behind the eye, right? Hangs out there for a day or so, and then digs its way out through the eye. Now, either that's a really messed up invention or creation, or that's just how they evolved because that's where they get their protein from. Who knows? I mean, I don't know for sure. And I can't tell you, but I'll definitely give you my 2 cents. My 2 cents really tells me that if he loves us so much, I mean, at least get rid of that one species of animal because all it does is harm. And another thing. If the big guy exists, when I get up there, I'm going to ask him, what's with the ticks and the fleas, man? Please explain to me these blood-sucking creatures to me. Explain them and why they are in existence. And don't tell me it's to feed chickens or it's part of the food pyramid. It just don't make sense. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the God subject, which we'll get into in-depth detail later on. But here it is. I'm a struggling human, like most of you out there. And, I battle with things every day like most people do. And I would like to propose a question to the people out there listening. Now, you can answer it rhetorically or you can just comment below, whatever. Either way is fine. But here's what I'd like to know. If you could move anywhere, if you could just pack up today and move, where would you go? And why? Let me know. Again, links for contact me will be in the bio, or on the screen throughout this podcast because there will be no video. Anyways, just let me know how you feel about that. If you could pack up right now and leave, where would you go, and why? I would tell you mine, but it's pretty generic. I would really like to get in a plane with nothing except for my passport, not even a carry-on, because geez Louise, you can get kicked off a flight for just looking at somebody with that sly eye, if you know what I mean. Look what happened to the Burger King guy. I mean, geez Louise. I mean, props to Burger King if they met up with that guy before he got on that plane and hooked him up with that sweet hat, but I ain't trying to be like that. But anyway, if I was to pack up and leave today, I would take off to Europe. My reasoning would be, I don't know. I'm just sick of where I'm at. Europe would be where I go. There's a lot of land over there. You can walk forever in one direction, turn around, and walk forever in the other direction. And I mean, there's so many different cultures in Europe. I mean, there's just so much going on over in Europe. I mean, prostitution's legal. Not saying that's a good thing, but I mean, has its perks, right? Anyway. I mean, also. I mean, I know Europe's, monarchy, right? And it's ruled by, the queen. But if you slip into some of them other subsidies or countries over there, you're looking at no freedom. Can't even show your ankles off. You can't stand without being told to. You can't talk without being. I mean, it's just a lot of different. It'd be a culture shock for sure for me. But I'll tell you right now, the life that's been happening lately, anywhere really, would be nicer than where we're at. But let's face it, folks, because of fear and anxiety and depression and the fact that the government that we so much rely on has done everything in its power to keep us just above the surviving rate and gave us some false bravado of freedom. I mean, if you really think about it, just stop and think about it, folks. If you go to work 40 hours a week and you work for 40 years, 45 years, and then you retire, you spent 35 to 40 years amassing a 401k and countless hours of overtime and back-breaking work, mind-racing work, hospital visits, little mini vacations to get away. But you spent 45 years of your life, 40 hours a week, working for $1 that doesn't even cost $1 in a country where it pays to be unemployed. And to top it off, listen, this is how I tell it to the people I work with. How you doing today? I'm here making money to pay for stuff that I'll never get to use. You buy a new house. What do you do? You do repairs and you sleep there. Where's the freedom in that? There isn't. And then on top of it, you say, oh, I just bought a house. No, you didn't buy no house. You're leasing a house from the government until you die. And they take the land back and sell the house for another massive profit. Let's get out of the loop, guys. No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Not at all. Do I believe the earth is flat? We'll talk about that later. Who knows? But here's what it is, and I'm going to tell you. I just want to say thank you to everybody out there listening for joining me on this crazy journey. And I do have a few requests. If you have any musical talent or can make a jingle and would like to make a few bucks, hit me up in the link below or, through the bio, phone numbers, whatever. Don't DM me because I don't have a DM. Don't snap me. I don't have a snap. Don't tweet me. I don't have a tweet. Yeah, that's just that. If you got any type of musical skills or production skills, or if you're into making music or anything to do with really this, anything to do with the podcast arena, any type of skills, audio editing, video editing, if you're good with a camcorder, if you own a camcorder, get a hold of me. Get in touch with me, bro. Let's get some things done together. Already I'm reaching out. Look, I'm not looking for a handout, but if you want to help, I can compensate. And I would do so, happily. And you get to hang out, maybe have dinner, lunch maybe. Who knows? A little bread in your pocket when you go home. Take some soup in a bag, But that's that. I want to end it like that. Thank you all so much for joining me. I just want to do it to get my voice out there. I really have no other special skills other than I can run my mouth knowing no facts at all and believing everything I say. Perfect for a podcast. So again, if you are weak, faint of heart, or just can't handle somebody being a complete idiot for 45 minutes to an hour, just, hit the X button, unsubscribe. Just don't talk shit about me. I mean, I'm not going to talk shit about you, that's for sure. I'm going to send you some love and tell you to have a great day. And if there's anything I can do to help you, hit me up. But that's that, man. I took me 6 months to put this first podcast out. The Zero Podcast, which sounds like a pretty good title, but who knows? I'm also not going to be doing too much editing on this one, so you guys are going to hear pretty much everything. I got a fan going. I've hit the table a few times. But it is what it is. And I just thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope that for the weeks to come, the months to come, we can get to know each other a little bit better. I'm hoping to put out at least one podcast every 2 weeks or twice a month. I mean, if I can get into a good swing of it, I'd like to do one once every week and then do a small 20-minute one, like an update of the week or a recap of the week. Or, I mean, honestly, really, there's nothing going on in anybody's lives. I mean, yeah, everything's opening back up, but I mean, lately, what's been going? So I fed the dog today. You know what this morning I did? I woke up, I made a cup of coffee, and you know what happened? I dropped the spoon. That's about the excitement we got going on in our lives today and this past year. I mean, there's really not much going on. I mean, again, I'm not going to get political because the news already does a horrible job of doing that for everybody else. I will say again, though, if you're hearing or listening to anything, do your due diligence, do some research. Don't take everything at face value, you know? Jeez Louise, Taylor Swift. Shit, we may be doing all songs next week. Just making up songs. Jingle all the way. Who said we can't be here anyway? I'm not going to say next week because next week's going to be a whole different ball game. Who knows? I'm rambling like a fucking idiot. Excuse me. I think that was the first time I almost said the F word. We'll bleep it out. Anyway, thanks again, everybody, for joining me. Episode 0, the TrapHouse Podcast, brought to you by Name Meaning Christ Bearer. Peace out, Cub Scouts. Thank you for joining me. And again, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, and then drop me a comment. Yes, no, maybe so, keep going. You know, just quit while you're ahead. I'll take any and all criticism, and I will take it humbly. I may even respond to some people. Who knows? I'm not a big, like I said, I'm not a big social media guy, but this podcast is for entertainment use only. If you take anything I say seriously, do so at your own risk. Thanks again to everybody who tuned in. Again, either today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, 200 years from now. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Again, don't take life too seriously. And we'll see you next time on the TrapHouse Podcast, episode number 1. Thanks again, everybody.